Welcome to the second podcast in my reading of Emmanuel Levinas' Totality Infinity. In this video, I look at Section 1, Part A, subsections 2 and 3, respectively titled The Breach of Totality and Transcendence is Not Negativity. But first, let's briefly review the story so far. My goal here is to present a metaphysical reading of Levinas' text instead of the traditional ethical reading of Levinas that we find, even sometimes social political readings. In subsection 1 of Section 1, Part A, Levinas describes metaphysics as a desire for the invisible, the absolutely other outside of oneself. This desire cannot be satisfied by anything within our grasp. This fact is what Levinas calls height. In subsection 2, Levinas describes the I as a point of departure. The I is simply presented here as a negative term, that against which we will discuss the absolutely other. We can use our ordinary first-person sense of the I for now, but we should be careful with it, and in a later section of the text, Levinas is going to give us more information about this I. In our ordinary life and living, we are egoists. We dwell in the world and see the world as something at our disposal. We are at home in our world, feeling free and doing whatever we want. The phrase, I can, accompanies dwelling, Levinas tells us, and this becomes important later. We are tempted into believing that our dwelling in the world somehow constitutes what there is. This, for Levinas, is called totalization. Our world, that is, the place where we dwell, is absorbed into our totality. So we strip the worldly objects of their otherness and we incorporate them into our dwelling. More on this later on in the book, but it is brought up here. It is no surprise that we are often so metaphysically unsatisfied. The object of our metaphysical desire, the absolutely other, cannot be totalized into our world. Levinas uses personal language here to describe the absolutely other as an autrui, which is the French word for someone else, or something akin to our use of the word other in the phrase significant other. The autrui is a stranger, Levinas tells us, who interrupts my dwelling, leaving me uncanny. I have no power over this other. The French says literally, I cannot can. I am unable to do the I can of the dwelling with the other. Before the other, Levinas tells us, I am the one comprehended. I become a me. So I'm comprehended instead of being the one comprehending. Levinas calls this fact, quite appropriately, I might add, religion. Levinas ties the relation between the I and the other to language. I take this to suggest that discourse, translated by linguists as conversation, but the French is discours, so I will also use the word discourse. Levinas says that discourse is a clue into our relation with the other, and thus metaphysics will involve some kind of conversation, that is, a saying and a listening. Such discourse puts egoism in its place because discourse already grants the lack of totality. After all, if everything was mine, why would I need to speak? Levinas hints at another one of his technical terms here, his term, the face, as we see on page 39 here, face to face. But we will wait to talk about it until a later podcast. There's a whole section of Totality Infinity about the face, and we'll wait till then. But we do want to mark that the word first appears here on page 39. Subsection 3 of Section 1, Part A briefly deals with transcendence not being understood in terms of negativity. Negativity presupposes something being negated. I see the difference between Levinas and Sartre most clearly here. For Sartre, for example, the other interrupts the me that should be free to do what I want. So this other is always negative. And as he tells us in his play No Exit, the other is literally hell. L'enfer, c'est l'autre. Hell is other people. For Levinas, however, the relation with the other is religion. Levinas draws on Descartes' notion of the idea of the infinite to show that perfection and infinity are not mere negations of imperfection and finitude. We will discuss Descartes more in subsection 5, so we will not spend too much time on it now. Finally, we must beware of the possibility of using negation as a method of totalization. Transcendence cannot be totalized, so it is not gained through negation. The difference between the I and the other is, for lack of a better term, positive. It is a height, not a depth. Positive, that is, not negative. Levinas describes the height on page 41 as follows. Transcendence designates a relation with a reality infinitely distant from my own reality, yet without the distance destroying this relation, and without this relation destroying the distance. Wonderful, wonderful passage there.